Right, let's get going. Photo on the front. Them are my babbies. These are Brandon worms, tiger worms, or compost worms. Quite a few names for them. Tiger worms is the one that they mainly use. Right, let's carry on. Found this photo out during the week. I'd seen this for yonks. This was in 1967 when I left Agents Ganges. God knows where it was. But third bloke up from the left, I've managed to get him on Facebook, and he ain't got a clue either. But that's going back a bit. Right, these lots I've nicked off Facebook. They're fungi somebody put on. Fancy walking through the wood and you'll see that. I'd bloody crap myself. There's some good ones.
No.
That's the best one. If I was walking through a forest and you see that, you'd call the cops, wouldn't you? Nature, it's great, eh? Little shopping last week. Spanish drunken goat cheese. If you'll see that, get it. Right, this is a question from Colin from last week. He was looking after his coleus over winter. Keith, am you ready, mate?
Yeah, no problem.
Good man. Small print. Colin can't make it tonight. So
Right.
this is for him, but he will catch up tomorrow when it's on YouTube.
Okay, I did email him with some info anyhow.
Oh,
But this is one of mine, which I've just been growing during the summer. It's been a slightly difficult year with these this year. I was having a few problems. I got a couple of pests that were nibbling away, but got it sorted in the end. Well, what I do is say this was a week ago, and have you got the next picture, Meg?
yeah.
Right, that's what it looks like after I've chopped it down. So I take a lot of the main growth off, cut it down. I will then actually clean that up on the inside a bit more, because that particular variety, very short jointed. There's hardly any space between the leaf joints, so it makes quite a compact plant. But I will let that dry, and with my coleus, the ones I want to keep over winter for next year, I will I'll bring indoors into a cool spare bedroom just to overwinter. Just keep them ticking over. To be quite honest, I'm not worried what they look like in the spring as long as they're alive, because I don't use the mother plant again. What I do use is I use it for cutting. So everything I grow is from a new cutting each year. Have you got the next picture, Mick?
Yeah.
Right, that's another one. That's about 3 foot 6 across. And that's one that I've grown this year, and I cut that back 6 weeks before Malvern, and that's the plant that I took to Malvern's show. And after I took the knife to it, it looked like, have you got the next one, Mick? It looked like that. So it's about a third of the size. So chopped it right back. I'll let that dry, just keep it ticking over. Again, that will be in a cool room, and in the spring when it shoots again, I will take cuttings. Now, when I've cut those two plants back, the other thing I do is use the shoots to take cuttings now. Have you got the next picture, Mick? No. Is there not one of the cuttings?
No.
No. All right. Okay. What I do is I took 10 cuttings of each of those two varieties, just four to a pot and 2 in a little pot, and I'll just root those, and I will overwinter those again. So I'm covering all options of getting those through the winter. So the mother plants I will use for cuttings in the spring, and the cuttings I take, the ones they'll root quite easily, I'll get those ticking over, and then I'll pop those up, and I will use those to take cuttings from as well. So I won't overwinter a cutting and use it as a plant next year. I always start with fresh rooted plants in the new year. But I find just keep them ticking over, just on the dry side, in a cool, frost-free room, and they will survive. And as I say, I don't care what the plants look like in the spring, as long as they're alive and I can get them up into growth and take new cuttings from. Well, that's how I overwinter all my plants. And then from a single cutting, which that one is, I get a 3 foot, 3'6" diameter plant from in 1 year. So they are easy, but do need to be kept frost free, because any slight chill or frost and it will kill them off.
Yeah.
But that's how I do it. And I did send that info to Colin, but if he needs any more, he can give me a buzz.
Yeah. Nigel, got a question, mate?
Keith, is that just one plant?
Yeah, that was one little cutting back in the spring.
At what stage do you start pinching out?
When it's about 6 inches tall.
Okay.
And I take it back, and it'll branch, and I'll keep taking it back. And as I say, I chopped that back about 6 weeks ago, really quite hard to try and balance it up, because there was a little bit of imbalance, some long lengths, and I brought it all down to one size, and that lives on that stall there. The plant I select to take to Malvern goes in the middle of the greenhouse on that stall in a saucer, and it gets plenty of water every day, and I just rotate it half a turn every day, so as the growth is even. And then I will continue to pinch out, make sure there's no flower buds or anything like that. But that's one plant from one small, 4-inch cutting in the spring.
Thank you.
And you're right. Question, mate?
Right, that's a cracking plant. I've got a few coleus myself. What variety is that, please?
What variety? That's called Oxford Street.
Thank you.
And there's most of the names. I get most of my name varieties. That if I want anything new, I get them from Dibley's, the Streptocarpus. They do a good range, normally about 20 or 30 different varieties. But also, if you wander around garden centres, the sort of big garden centres in the spring, you can normally find some different coleus that have been cutting raised. I mean, the seed ones do make nice plants, but I find with the cutting raised varieties, I get better plants from them.
Yeah, that's where I got mine from.
And
we Streptocarpus, coleus and Streptocarpus.
Yeah.
It's only down the road from me.
Ah, right. Yeah, well, good plants. They do good plants. That particular plant I bought was one little cutting from a garden centre. I quite like the colour of it. That doesn't show how bright it is really, but that is a real good bright maroon with a bright lime green fringe to it, and it's quite short jointed, so it makes quite a good solid plant. But you'll be able to overwinter them. Just keep them on the dry side, cool, frost free.
Excellent. Right, while we've got you there, little shopping this morning, I saw these.
Yeah.
Straight away, Keith.
Yeah.
So I jobbed a couple.
Yeah. I like the one at the back, and the red one with dark one with the pink centres. They're nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you use them, outside now, you're not going to get much length of life out of them. But indoors, you can keep those keep them through the winter, no problem at all, Nick.
Yeah. That's right. I thought it was a funny time, what you've been saying over the months. It's a funny time to bring these out.
It is. I expect they getting rid of stock and that.
Yeah. I think these
are well worth trying, because if you get them through the winter, you've got stock plants for cuttings for next year.
Yeah. Well, the two I got are them two there.
Yeah, they're good size as well.
Yeah. So then we'll probably go in the kitchen over winter.
Yeah, good idea.
It's a waste to put them in the greenhouse. And I know
my one with the temperature variant in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Any little bit of draft, which is why I bring them into the spare bedroom. They seem quite happy. That's where Colin's got his as well.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. That's cleared that one up.
Okay, mate.
Excellent. Cheers, Keith.
No problem.
Boston.
Cheers, bud.
Right, this is a photo from the porch of my new raised beds going up the side of the fence, plus my tubs. Our beds come up today for a few days, luckily, because we've got to move some of these round to the front, and my glad is, well, moving these two, but it's too dark down here for them, so we're going to have a move about. So I think that's when I've just watered earlier on. This was last week, and then we had a good downpour, so they watered as well. Our mate upstairs. This was last Saturday down our trading sheds. Those are surrounded by 3 fields. This was just one photo of all the pigeons taken off, the wood pigeons. Bloody hordes on them. And yesterday there was loads again. But that's perks. You're surrounded by 3 fields. It's nice and peaceful, nice and quiet. But this is one of the disadvantages. Right, there's a hound as normal. In the normal position on her lap, just like a mother. Good job of Corey, mate. Right. This was a compost last Sunday morning, 9 AM. Rounded up the troops because our trading sheds is our biggest input for our gardening club. People come for compost, that's the main thing. Once I'm there waiting in the queue for the compost, they then look at everything else which we flog, fertiliser and whatever, and that's how we make our money. But we've got to have compost to get them in there. Now, know what Nigel mentioned last week about clover, them fretting, well, them all bloody fretting, whoever's doing compost now. So I went and saw our mate, Plugs for Plants. This is up Brawley Hill. He flogs the compost. You can have as many bags as you want, but he doesn't deliver. Meaning I had to get a mate with a van, as we can see there, and round the troops up, and I had 4 pallets off him. Luckily, that was inside his premises. It's right in the middle of a trading estate, but it is enclosed. I think he has 14 or 18 pallets dropped off in one go, and obviously there's just enough walkway to get round to his tunnels where he flogs all his bedding. But he lets us have them £4 a bag, which is good. Obviously you've got to pick them up. So this is going back to, it took us 2 trips, so we managed to get 2 pallets on one trip. Obviously back to our first shed, which you can see is empty. And we've got enough of us, luckily, to get, these are 60 litre bags, by the way. I know there's a allotment side down Starbridge, and then the 75 litre bags, which we have had before. If we've got no choice, then if that's all they've got, then I would have had them. But the 60 litre, don't forget, most of them who come to our trading sheds are old ones. Now, whoever's serving at the trading sheds, put the compost into the boot for them. But some of them, when they get home, they can't lift the compost out of the boot, with them too old, got arthritis or whatever. And the 60 litre bags works well with all of them. So, but anything over 60 litre, they struggle, and we've lost a few of them because we had one time we'd only got the large bags in. So that was the second trip. Luckily, the gods was with us in the sense that it was a nice sunny day. If it had been fiddling down, obviously this lot would get wet anyway. Now originally all these were sealed, and when they took the seal off, all the bags was still moist, that was wet. And I can remember Singleton's, when I used to make compost from in, I used to give him a bollocking, saying, "You've just delivered me all wet bags." And he used to say they were sealed, and these are exactly the same. I think they seal them just to keep them in contact. So we fill the first shed, and this is the second shed. just managed to get them in. Now all I've got to do is order fertilisers, canes and everything before Christmas, before the prices go up. Everything I can get in there. Also off our contact, which we've just used, I've ordered a pallet of clover grow bags off him. He's ordering them end of January for mid-Feb. So we've got grow bags for next year as well. That's something else our people need, obviously, through the summer. And that's the first shed, chocker. I think we had 3 bags that were split, so that ain't bad out of that lot. So we're all sorted, ready for next year. Little shopping last Sunday. I'd got these out. I needed something for the front steps. So that's the tubs little pots I've been using for a few years now. Obviously I'm going to use them again. So the same pot inside, making me a little hole. Nice brew of compost underneath them. Good watering, firm them in. And then bung them out with a hound. So position them. That's better. Got to look after the postman. And my spare one went down there right on the corner end of the garden. Right, tomatoes, because I was late bunging them out. Getting a load off them now. We don't eat that many, to tell you the truth. Right, raised bed, top of the garden. This is me Blanche and intermediate raised bed. I need him to be jobbed. So obviously empty all my spare bags out. I've took all the straw off the bottom, saved that. I'll put that in the bin liner. I'm saving that for next year. Don't forget that straw, because it has been dry. Or if it does get wet, I get a good downpour, it's going to wet the stuff that's on the front here. But once it is dried out, then it will last over winter. And then get away with it. Right, first thing that goes on there is the spent tops, as we can see there on the left. So it's got a layer of that on. Next one, rabbit muck. Then I've got my goat muck, which we've got there, but I'll rub that out by hand so it's in smaller peats. I don't want these big lumps going in. If the smaller the particles, which that's what I'm rubbing out into that one there. But the smaller the particle, exactly the same as when your stuff goes in your compost heap. The smaller the particle in there, the quicker the breakdown. So if these are small particles as well, don't forget it's very similar to a compost heap. Because these lot, once they're watered and covered, exactly the same as the compost, they would break down quicker. Worm casts, love it. And then more rabbit muck, which is a good brew. And the last one on there is my own compost, well, nearly the last one. And then my bucket from if you remember last week, that's what I had from my tunnel before I did my plot up. Because inside of there is my mum, dad, Colin and my mate Alf's ashes. So I bought them back and all. So I'm sprinkling them on all the raised beds. So I can still talk to them. Right, this is mixed in. So top 3 or 4 inches. And then the last one is charge and rock dust. That is then unforked in. Levelled off. And then the last one, that is the last of my seaweed. But that lot went on there. Now all we got to do is give it a good soaking. And I mean a good soaking. It's probably had about 12 watering cans on. Left an hour, then he's had another 10. That's emptied both my butts. So that's, for me, that's a good brew. And it goes straight in. Next thing to do is put my cover on. Just about to put that on. Right, the ends of my cover here, because when you cut this to size it frays. So what I do is black tape from Wilko. That's a Boston tape. I just put that round the edge, stop it fraying, and then I'll make my own hole punch. That's from Wilko and all. They ought to give me shares plus my tent pegs. You get them from Wilko and all. I was just about to put the cover on, and it was just about to make it out. The hail come down. What a row it made on there. I'm just about to make them out. I zoom in there, you can see out better. And you can see how sharp it was and all. There was alarms going off on the houses, cars and everything. It was a proper one. And I had to go and leg it in the greenhouse, otherwise I'd have got soaked. And that's how good it was. It covered half of that, well, 3/4 of that. So he will be ticking away now, and I will do a moisture check on them every month, exactly the same as all the other beds that I've covered. And if they do start drying out, then I'll give them another watering. I want that soil to work over winter, not tick over. Exactly the same as my composting. Neil, you ready, mate?
Yes, mate.
Good man. All yours.
Okay, mate. There's a me dahlias from Kidderminster. I won with them at Kidderminster. Them some of the best dahlias I've ever grown. I really like them. Okay, Mick.
Have you had a good year for dahlias this year, Neil?
I have done really well with them, Mick. When I went to Birmingham, which there's some pictures on here.
Yeah.
I won best novice and everything there.
Good man.
This is the reason for the 111 class at the Lake Show. I come second there. This is the Amelia, like. This is one I got off somebody off Facebook, but this year I got the original strain what I had off Keith Foster, because he ain't selling it no more. People kept on doing their own cuttings off it and everything, so, which you got to expect people to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you have stuff off John Salisbury and all that lot, you know, you got to do your own cuttings, you got to make it as cheap as you can.
Yeah.
But it's a good look, and the ones this year I've started off already, and I'm doing really well. And the onion there, you can just see a bit of a picture of it. That's the Billy Lamb onion, Mick. It's really doing well, that is.
Yeah. Nice shape.
The blanch likes the pendle improved. I always do well with my pendle improved.
Yeah.
I've tried the Berwick this year, but I can't seem to get the height on it. I really struggle to get the height on that Berwick, like. Okay, Mick. These I'll come second for the pot lakes. Chris won it, and I'll come second. These the Yorkshire Green. I've done well with these. I had them off a chap, and he's sending me some more down this year. I think everybody started to go back to the old strains now.
Yeah.
You know, I've got the blue this year off Harry Houghton. I had it the year before we had this year when we had lockdown, and it grew to about 18 inches round by 5. And I only had it outside. It was under cover or nothing. It was in a bed outside, and it got 18 inches round by 5. So I've got some of them this year, and with my Yorkshire Greens and my Melias, I should be all right then.
Good man.
Okay, mate. This is the show at Kidderminster. That's the Amelia, like what I had. Come first with that. That's in the members class, because there's 2 classes there, you know me. There's a members class and the Oakland class, and I'm a member there, and I'll come first. That's for 3 years on the run of on that now.
Good shape on him.
It is, mate. It is. It's if you see the original one, what Keith Foster done, you can see the giant in it. But I think it's crossed with the Cumbrian, and it's a real nice, really nice look. That's why I'm positioning maybe.
Yeah.
You just got to get a bit more size on it, and it should be a good light. Okay, Mick. These are my carrots on the right. I come third with them. I think that's just about the right size. I like a carrot.
Yeah.
There's some of them. There's me parsnips. I come third with them. I was the only one. I was the only one in that class. They deemed it all recognised to get a fair, so they put me third. Mate, Bob Carr. He likes upsetting me occasionally.
He bloody upset. Well, he'd upset everybody, because we know what to expect.
He's a good lad, though, Bob.
You know.
There's when I went to Birmingham Dahlia Society, and I've seen some of these. These I'm on. I've seen these, and I thought, what a lovely look the dahlias, the giant ones, mate.
Yeah.
And I've seen them, and I thought, there's a bloke selling them on the internet, and I've ordered some of them for next year. They look really nice, because I'm going again for the dahlias again next year. They're really nice. Okay, mate.
Is that an open show, or have you got to be a member?
You've got to be a member, Mick.
Yeah.
It's only £5 to join now, Mick.
Yeah.
And you can get they have talks. I think it's once a month, once every 2 months as well. It's only, Perry Bar.
Yeah, I talked there a couple of years ago.
It's only down there. It's really good.
Yeah.
And the people are nice and friendly. Because we joined up to Sam's Society, me and Chris did once. And God, I know it's hard, but you try and make people welcome, because if you don't make people welcome, they don't want to know us.
Yeah.
They just throw us in the corner. This is the I thought I was hoping to win Best in Show for something, but I got it for me dahlias. And I got Best in Show for me dahlias. They put me in the novice class, and it says, "Yeah, you ain't grown enough dahlias to go in the main class." So I went in the novice class, and I got Best in Show, and I got 3 first and a second. That was really, okay, mate. This is some more of them. These ain't mine. There's some more of them joint decoratives. I think that when I first seen them, I don't like them, but it's grown them and they have now. But some of them are ugly looking things, but they're nice.
You don't get the bug, are you?
I am for the dahlias, mate. There's some more big ones, mate. They am really nice. I split you with your gladiolas, mate. I like my dahlias.
Yeah. Is that a collection, that?
Yeah.
3 in 1? Yeah.
Yeah. They're absolutely brilliant. You should have come, mate. You should come. I'll tell you when it's on next. You should come down and have a look.
Oh. If I'm free.
It's really nice. This is I come first with this, and I was really proud of that. That was really nice.
Nice.
Okay, mate. These are somebody else's, but they really look nice. Val's Candy, they really am nice. Boston there. Okay, mate. I'll come second with that. That's me. It's supposed to be a giant, but I've got to try and start cutting these stems down so I can get them bigger. It's oh god, Clearview Eddie. This one is. It's really it's like a white with a pinkish colour in the middle. Really nice. Okay, mate. There's them and my poms there. I come first with Moore's Place. No, sorry, that's John's Twilight. Sorry. It's nice, that is. Nice. I had Moore's Place as well, but the John's Twilight looked better, so I took them. Okay, mate. And that's the ones what I won the show with.
Brilliant.
Best exhibition in show.
You've upset a couple there then with him.
You are?
You've upset a couple.
Yeah, well, the one of the chaps who run the show says the judge was outstanding. Remember, he said that there were no pest disease on them or nothing.
Yeah.
And they all faced and everything. And he said they looked really smart. So I was really pleased with them.
Majority of them will shake your hand now, say well done. Right, Boston.
But they did. All they said to us, right, you know, I was having a laughing joke. They says, "Could you black country people go back home?" or words to that affect me.
Oh, no. Nathan, you got a question, mate?
That was nice. That was nice. The bloke who run it really nice as well.
Neil, where do you buy your tubers from?
Tubers, Halls of Hendon.
Yeah.
Halls of Hendon. But there's a chap now on the internet. He's selling them for half the price of Halls of Hendon. And he's also doing the plants as well, which I've ordered some off him. today, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's he called?
Oh, I don't know what his name is. I'll let Mick know, and then I'll get Mick to text you.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Okay. These are my others I come first with. The judge said it was either today's or the other ones, but he said the other ones looked a bit better. The way there was showed, so but I was really pleased with these, Mick. Really, you know, considering I'm a veg grower and I wore a flower man, you know what I mean? I was quite pleased.
Question, mate.
Neil, is it someone's just put in the chat? Is it Robert Reed?
No.
All right,
No.
Right, mate.
I will let you know who it is, mate. I'll let Nick know.
I'll pass it on to Nathan.
What, mate?
I'll pass it on to you later on.
Right, thank you, Mick.
These are my lung carrots. I'll come first. The first time I've ever come first with the lung carrots. That was in a members class. That was really nice. That was.
Yeah.
I could have done with it two being a bit longer, but that was all right. Not too bad. Okay, mate. This was a stand. I like the begonias and fuchsias. I thought I'd take a photo and put it on here because they put a stand up and it looked really nice. It was up the top of Kidderminster. And to be fair, Kidderminster is a good show.
Yeah.
Okay, Mick. This is my heavyweight onion. Not as big as the last year. It was only £8 one. But considering the year I had with most of them going to seed, I was pleased to get second. So that was a Billy Lamb onion as well. Okay, mate.
Been a funny year this year, Neil.
It has, mate. It has, especially doing this. That's it, mate.
Good man.
Okay.
Cheers, Neil.
Cheers, mate.
Anybody got any questions for him while we got hold on him? All your seed was distributed for your every red cabbage, what you got on there.
Okay, mate. Cheers, mate.
Good man. Cheers,
okay,
Neil.
No problem. See you, mate.
There's my mate. Caught him yesterday up top of the garden. This is a northern cocktail. I'll nick that off the Facebook and all. Bloody pork pie stuck on the top of the pipe. Gordon Bennett. Right. Worm wheel. Right, worm winners. You get a choice of beetle dung, charge, liquid fish, or mycorrhizal fungi. Or if you're local, you can add to that worm cast and spent mushroom compost.
Is it worth spinning it, Mick?
Yes, dear. When I've finished gobbing off.
Well, I was just thinking that it'll be my name anyway, so what's the problem? And I've got a cold.
Nick, he's trotted some muck again, isn't he, eh?
Spin it again, Mick.
Kath Holmes.
One, two.
Nigel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good man.
Okay, well, Mick asked me to put together a bit of a sort of slideshow of this year's winners at the shows. I mean, obviously, I suppose, like everybody else, it's absolutely great to be out there in person and seeing these things face to face. We managed three big shows this year. The British Gladiolus Society. We had our Northern show up in Hartlepool. The national show should have been at Poynton, but they cancelled, and we shipped it across to Stafford in with the Crescent Society. And then we had the last one up at Newbie Hall, which is the new venue for the Harrogate show. So this is probably the best show glad you can get at the moment. This is of singular beauty. This was the grand champion at the national show at Stafford. This is a giant flowered one, comes from America. Doesn't grow very well in America, but grows very well over here because it's a bit cooler. So this one's of singular beauty, a 500, giant flowered. Thanks, Mick. The small flowered champion at the national was one from Canada. It's called Solum, T-S-O-L-U-M. Don't know what it means, but comes from Canada. It's a nice salmon with a little bit of ruffling around the edges, which gives it a bit more strength, and a bit more that strength which protects it a bit more against the wind and the rain. Another one that looks a lot like a singular beauty, but it's a smaller size. This one's called Juno-esque. It's another white, but it's got a bit of a sort of lavender pinkish tinge to it, and you can see it a little bit on that one.
Yeah, you see it. Oh.
This one's a medium flowered, so that means the florets, or the bottom floret, needs to be between 3.5 and 4.5 inches at its widest point. So Juno-esque, that one. Another one similar. You'll notice that a lot of these winners are very sort of plain coloured. 20% of the marks on a gladiolus are given for beauty and colour, and anything that's sort of extraneous, like a misplaced blotch or any kind of sort of streaking that's in the colouring of the flower, if it's not consistent, it gets down pointed. So that's why most of the top show growers will grow the plain colours, because they don't get any down pointing for misplaced marks and things like that. This is Florence Nightingale. This is the large flowered champion, 400 size, which is 4.5 to 5.5 across the bottom floret. These 8 open, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, and then 8 ones nearly open, and plenty of buds still to come. Okay.
Nice one, Darren. I've got a couple of them.
It's a bit pale in the leaves and things like that, but it makes the nicest flower, and it has got a bit of a tendency to put a gap up the middle in between the 2 rows of flowers. So you just have to sort of put a bit of work on to keep them together. Okay. This was the basket champion. This one's called Chilton Pride, and this was grown by one of our members, Jackie Parks, down in Tewkesbury. She's very good at putting baskets together. The idea of a basket, you're doing it for frontal effect. The quality of the spikes should be as good as single spikes in vases should be. You are allowed to use foliage apart, other than gladiolus foliage. So here she's got it masked around at the bottom with hosta leaves.
Oh, I thought that was nice.
But the gladioli, I suppose, which obviously, yeah. I always find at the Bingley Hall that your camera never works that well in there. The light is awful. That's why the other photos were taken outside, but obviously you can't let anything this about. So. Cheers, Mick. We also have the floret box classes. This was a nice little one. This little Primulinus one. This was a seedling, so it hasn't got a name yet. Grown by Frank Harlan, who lives across in Orland in Cheshire. Nice little sort of cream and mid lavender colour. Idea on this is you try and get 6 florets exactly the same size, and then colour wise you're either trying to match 6 of the same colour or three that contrast, so like perhaps 3 dark colours against 3 very pale colours. Okay, this was the Dutch flowered champion. It was one called Tineka, Tineka. And as you can see, this is what I'm talking about, the blotching and where you lose points on it. If you have a look at the bottom floret, it's got 2 petals with a distinctive blotch on, whereas the next one up on the right hand side has only got 1 blotch. So you're losing points straight away, and it's all up the left hand side it's got 2 blotches, and all up the right hand side it's only got the 1. So when it comes to beauty and colour, it's batting on a sticky wicket straight away.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vic. So we now move on to this is Newbie Hall. This was the obviously this was the first time we've been up to there. It's a new venue. The Harrogate show moved for cost reasons and moved it up to a place called Newbie Hall, which is near Ripon. Absolutely brilliant. I know it was set off by a nice weekend. I think we only had about 10 minutes worth of rain all weekend, and the rest of the time the sun was out. But the venue itself was fantastic. Plenty of nosh, plenty to drink, plenty of space, plenty of parking. Exhibitors got their own dedicated in and out route for the vehicles. Long may it continue. I think they've got a contract up there for 5 years. So
Brilliant.
we'll be up there next year, I think. But this is the champion medium flowered one. This is Dion. This one's from Czechoslovakia. Very, very sort of pale lavender colour. Little bit too far open, really, but only needs 7 open on it as an optimum. But very, very nice all the same.
Beautiful he is.
Yeah. This was Pink Elegance from Graham Anderson, who lives across at Burton-on-Trent. This was the best large flowered one. I think in general, I don't think anybody would sort of shoot me down if I said that this was pretty much nearly the last show of the season. So in general, the quality was a little bit down on what you would normally expect. But you can't win it unless you're there. So fair play to anybody that flowers on the bench. That was Pink Elegance. And this is a new cream seedling that is bred. Very sort of buttery, creamy colour. Giant flowered. Obviously, I think it probably would have benefited from a bit more work to get the florets into place a bit. But there's a fair bit of potential there. Okay, Nick, thanks. Little Primulina seedling, very, very pretty this. And this was just grown from seed that the bees pollinated in somebody's garden. So basically they just let the flower die down, it formed a seed pod, they took the seed off, grew it from the seed, and this is what it's produced. So, it can be done quite easily without having to think about it too hard.
He's got a lovely inner.
Yeah, and with the Primulinus ones, because they always, 99.9% of the time, they always have consistent double lip petals, like you were just pointing to.
Yeah.
The markings on them tend to be a bit more consistent. With a sort of really critical eye, if you look on the second floret up, on the left-hand side, it's got a white streak on that side wing petal.
Yeah.
But it hasn't got one on the other side.
Oh.
Floret above it has got it on the right-hand side, but hasn't got it on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's been really super critical, really. Okay, Nick. That was the champion spike. Blow me own trumpet a bit. That was mine. Again, this is this Canadian one called Solemn. Pretty much wipes the board with every other small flowered gladiolus that's about at the moment, because it does produce such a nice shape. The only thing wrong with it is it produces almost too long a flower spike, so that when you show it with sort of 6, 7, 8 flowers open, it's still got about another sort of 15 foot come sort of thing, it's almost too much stem and not enough open flower. But I think the only way you could get around that, really, is I've tried it myself and it does work, is actually grow 2 or 3 spikes off a corm, rather than DIing your corm down to 1 like we do with most of them. Thanks, Vic. That's another nice Canadian one. That was called Henk, Henk. Henk, again, a medium flowered one. Nice sort of deep rosy purple. They're lovely, these rosy purple ones. They really show themselves off well. But I think we mentioned it before that gladioli do suffer from this thing called the thrick, which is an insect that it's larvae who have a bit of a chew on the flowers and mark them, and the purple and the red are the ones that they go for more than anything. So Tracy, the girl that grew this one, did ever so well to actually get it onto the bench, you know, in pretty clean conditions. So well done. Thanks, Mick. And there she is. That's Tracy. That's our new show secretary. Very, very pleasing to see that, you know, a youngster's stepped forward and said, "Yeah, I'll take the job on."
Oh, brilliant!
And this is up at our Hartlepool show. Tracy's a native of Hartlepool. That's where we have our northern show. And this is she won the basket class up there for with a basket of little Primulina ones, which are the ones like we saw with the hood on them. The best medium flowered, that one's called Peppermint Delight. Again, it's got a bit of a throat marking on it, but as you see on these, it's very consistent. It's got like it's almost bleeding out of that bottom floret. And it's the same marking on all of the florets, so that's what you're really looking for. And you know, if you do get a blotched variety like that one, you tend to sort of keep it and stick with it. But that's a guy called Peter Forrow from Chesterfield. That was the champion spike of the whole show. Mine again, I'm afraid. That was a seedling. This is a cross between Pink Elegance, which we saw earlier on, and one that was called Frosted Cream. So it's a pink crossed with a cream, and it's produced this sort of creamy white with a deep bit of a yellow throat and darker stamens. So you know, quite an attractive flower, and makes a lovely shape to it as well. So this is what I've been saying throughout the summer. Really, what you're looking for is this sort of teardrop shape, a tight bud, so many in colour, and then like almost a teardrop shape going down to the bottom of the flower.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks, mate. That's the small flowered champion at this show. As I said earlier on, Solemn usually wins, but it's a variety. Solemn is it doesn't usually appear till September. This show was in August. This is Dave Goodwin from not Dave Goodwin, Dave Goodwin's your mate, isn't it? Dave Armstrong from County Durham, and this one's called Miss Monica, MYSS, Miss. That must be the Dutch spelling, and then Monica, MONICA. And again, that was really well early on in the season. Cheers, Nick. Mr. Forrow again with his Primulinus. He grows about 2,000 of these, so that's as well as he's got 2,000 prims, and then he's got his big stuff as well. So he's got plenty to choose from. This one's Lady Helen. I think you've got this one, Mick, haven't you?
Yeah, love it.
Beautiful sort of deep primrose yellow colour. Good placement on the flowers, and you know, makes a cracking vase. Okay, another prim. This one's Celine, very, very pale pink colour. It's a new one that came out a couple of years ago. With the demise of the suppliers that we had, you know, obviously I don't think it's going to be commercially available for a long time now, unless anybody sort of steps forward. So it's a case of if you've got it, keep it. Looks like somebody's kitchen that we know. That's Sue, variety Sue, another Primulinus one. Again, good placement and a good sort of form for it. The placement on these should be like your feet would be on a step ladder. So if Mick, you aim for that middle flower spike and start at the bottom floret, left, up, right, left, right, left, right. So as you would climb up the ladder. Thanks, Mick. And this one's Gemma, another Primulinus one, and again you can see that sort of step ladder placement, as we call it. Not too many buds on these ones. It could have done with a few more, but quite a nice bar all the same. A few from one or two of the online shows as well. This is one called Barunka, Barunke. This is from Czechoslovakia. Again, I've watched a variety and a very even watches. You know, it looks as though it's got probably the purple in the right place in most of them. There was a very secretive little parcel arrived through my letterbox yesterday with some that in it. So we have now got Barunka in the UK.
Oh, good man.
So a few years' time, it might be might be enough to spread it about a bit. But we'll see. Excuse me. This is one called Pristine White. Pristine, not Christine. Pristine, Pristine White. This came over from Canada this time. Absolute cracker. It makes really, really consistent spikes and flowers. You know, just pretty much face the right direction. And I've dug mine up this. I had 12 of it, and I dug them up this morning. And there's that many corners on them. It's unbelievable. So you know, it's a really, really good propagator. So if you're looking for one to sort of get hold of, and you don't mind sort of paying a bit but get it over from Canada, that's one to go for. Very, very nice.
Brilliant.
Large flowered one. Okay. This is another one, a new one from Canada I tried this time. This is called Great Joy. Again, a sort of, it's classified as a blue, but as we all know, you can't get a true blue gladioli. They're all sort of various shades of purple and mauve. But this one makes quite a decent shape, and it's got enough buds on it, and the blotching on it's not too bad at all. So I had 12 of this. When you buy them from Canada, you order 10, and they always chuck you 2 freebies in. So you order 10 and you get 12. But the only thing wrong with this is I've actually, out of the 12 that I got, so I've actually only managed to harvest about 5. The others went backwards and died off. So whether there's a bit of a health problem with it or not, I don't know. Time will tell. Thanks, Mick. Again, just a few sort of different cultivars. Pink Elegance on the left, Rotary, the bright orange in the middle, and August Days on the right hand side. So three very nice ones, and you know, it shows you the range of colours that you can actually get amongst them.
I think I got one of them. I called it poached egg.
Yeah, you might have. That's a large flowered one. Comes from Canada originally. The Rotary in the middle is Dutch. That one I think I bought from Pheasant Acre Plants down in Bridgend. I ordered 25 and 23 on them with that colour and 2 were bright yellow. But you know, the 23 that I did have with that colour were all pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, Pink Elegance. That's another Czechoslovakian one, and one of the staples of the show flowers of most of the top rows. This one's one of Steve Medleycott's. This is Trader Hall. Again, with the sort of demise of our main 2 suppliers this time, a lot of people will be looking to sort of where can I get gladioli and things like that. And if you're looking at the garden centres, this is one to go for. Trader Hall. It's probably about 40, 50 year old, but it's still got the capability of producing some really good show spikes on it, and it's a nice eye-catching, vivid red with a pure white throat mark. So very, very nice. And this one is one called Silver Dream. This is a UK one. This was bred down in Enfield in Middlesex. I think when it last appeared in the catalogue, it was about £6 or £7 a shot. And I wouldn't buy it. I've never bought it because it's historically got really bad health problems. You know, for every 10 you buy, 9 might die off, sort of thing, and you get one decent one. But I think in the last couple of years, before they sort of ceased trading, I think Showglads managed to sort of do a lot of stock selection on it and actually clean it up. So there's some nice ones kicking around now. Again, fortunately, where you can get hold of them. I think the only place you'd buy it now would be as cornlets from the Gladiolus Society, and then grow them onto flowering size corns as well. And that's me. There we are.
Excellent. Cheers, Nigel.
No worries, mate. Any questions, anybody?
Who's top of the world? Do you reckon Gladys? Canada,
Top of the world?
States, us, or are we all on par?
Well, if you have a look at, I don't know, the Americans have moved the goalposts a bit.
Yeah.
The actual criteria for judging gladiola were all set out by the North American Gladiolus Council donkeys years ago, and that's what we grew to. But then they sort of the Iron Curtain came down, and they got all these more heavily muffled Russian ones and Czechoslovakian ones and Eastern European ones, and started breeding with them. And the sort of seedlings and the flowers that didn't really fit in to the classifications that we'd already got written. So they started over there changing the rules. You know, which to my way of thinking is wrong. You know, you might as well say well, Manchester United are a good football team. They always score 3 or 4 goals a game. So let's shrink the goals so that they can't score as many as they used to, sort of thing. You know.
Yeah.
I think, if the seedlings didn't match up to what the criteria said they should do, they should have been sort of pushed to one side, and the ones that did were the ones that should be concentrated on. But if you see photos of the American shows, we've got absolutely nothing to worry about with white football, and I think that over here we're more sort of like keen amateur show growers. You know, we're growing for show on our allotments.
Yeah.
I know, said Peter Forrow had got in thousands. I've got 500 or 600, and that's as many as I can manage, sort of thing. So you're just concentrating on that. But these American folks, they're growing them for farmers markets and cut flowers and things like that. So they've got like 400. There's one bloke. He said to me last summer, "Oh, I've planted 28 rows today, 400 foot long each row." And 28 rows, so they grow in the tens of thousands for cut flowers, and if one of them just happens to look as though it might make a show, they'll cut that one out and take it, sort of thing. So I think quality wise as regards show flowers, I think we're well up there.
Yeah. Brill. Anybody got any questions for Nigel while we got hold on it?
What's the site called in Canada?
You're on Peters Enterprises. Peters is
Peters.
P-E-E-T-E-R-S.
Okay. Cheers.
Peters Enterprises, and we're in Ontario. They've got an absolutely fantastic website. There's a colour catalogue on the website of probably about 200 varieties. You can you can order them online. You can pay for them by PayPal and things like that. You do have to have an import certificate from them, and the postage is quite a bit more as well. But they're very, very good, and the actual you can order them from January onwards.
Cheers, Nigel.
No worries.
Nigel, when do they come on the market to buy these corms?
Well, in the garden centres and things.
Yeah, well, anywhere, because I've just looked on the internet and they're all like not available.
Yeah, pretty much most of the ones that you see in garden centres and on the internet will be Dutch grown stuff, and climate wise they're the same as us. So their stuff's been in the ground and we'll just now they'll be lifting it out. So you're probably looking at sometime just before Christmas they might start appearing in the garden centres and online.
Okay.
The Pleasant Acre sites, I think you can order from him now, or very shortly you will be able to.
What's it called? Sorry.
Pheasant, as in the bird.
Pheasant, yeah. Oh, Pheasant Acre, yeah.
Pheasant Acre plants.
Right.
The only thing I'd say with him is I ordered 2 varieties off him last time, and I only got one of what I wanted.
Right.
But say it's a case of getting them where you can at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
but just before Christmas they'll start appearing in garden centres. Just after Christmas they'll be everywhere.
Okay. All right, lovely. Thanks.
One of my friends, he's done well with some this time, and he bought them in a bag from Tesco's.
Oh wow.
50 in a bag for about £3.
Yeah.
And
so you don't have to buy the show ones then?
Well, in amongst them were some show varieties from a few years back, that are still capable of winning. So he did all right.
David, got a question, mate?
Thanks.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
wife too.
Nigel, I've grown some this year. I must have got about 30, and I want to know, what should I do with them now? They're all in pots. Should I dig them up for the winter and store them? Or what do I do with the greenery? I've cut the flower off, so what do I do with them now?
If they're in pots, I'd keep them in the pots just for a few more weeks. Until the leaves start turning brown, or a yellowy colour. Then I'd knock them out of the pot. I don't know whether you can see this or not. Let me just see if I can find one. Just bear with me.
See if the heating's come on again now.
Where's my camera? I don't think you can see that.
No, I've got a photo of you. Oh yeah.
That's when you lift them out. Cut all the leaves off completely when they're out of the of the pot. I've got mine now sat next to me. I've got about 30 mushroom trays stacked with gladioli corn, sitting in my spare front room where my computer is, in front of the radiator. It'll take a couple of weeks for them to dry off. One you planted will be a little sort of dead, shriveled up entity at the moment. That twists off and leaves you with a nice sort of clean root scar, and then you just store the corm over the winter somewhere dry, cool and frost free, and that will keep it going until sort of springtime when you need to plant them again. If they were out in your main garden and you just wanted them for garden display, I'd have been inclined to leave them. But because they're in pots and they're above ground, if you get a few decent frosts, it might kill them off. But what I'll do, Mick, is over the course of the next sort of couple of weeks, I'll put a bit of a sort of how to harvest and store your gladioli.
Oh, thank you. Lovely. Thank you so much. That's super.
Yeah, we'll go for the week after next, Mick, if that's all right.
Yeah, Boston.
Lovely.
Thank you very much indeed.
Steve, question?
What do you do with babies, Nigel?
Well, again, some of them go off. The ones I want, I keep and I grow in growing pots for sort of next year, the year after that. So I usually grow about 30 of it. I've probably got about 10 main varieties I want to keep. So I'll grow about 30 of the little cormlet ones, the baby ones of each variety in big pots. Hopefully I can get them up to flowering size in one season. So if I've harvested them today, which I've got all my corms out the ground this morning because it's been a fantastic day here. I've harvested them today. They'll be dried off within the next 2 or 3 weeks. They'll be then stored in a paper bag or something in the garage till next spring. I'll start them off in the big pots. If you've got a bit of heat, greenhouse, something like that, you can start them off February time or just outside in March, April time. Keep them growing as long as you can. Feed and water them all season, and with a bit of luck from something the size of a sort of a sweet pea seeds type of size.
No, what I meant, Nigel, is when you dig one up, it's got babies on it. Do you put the babies back in the soil?
Not there and then. No, I dry them off as the same as the big corm.
Okay.
And then sort of as they dry off, they tend to fall off. So then you sort of separate them off and keep them where you want them.
Thanks, mate.
Nathan, question, mate.
Nigel, do you sell any of your corms?
I don't, mate. I haven't got the space for sort of grow extras, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and like you said,
it'd be fantastic. It'd be fantastic if I was 20 years younger. I didn't need to make a living doing anything else, and I'd got a field. I'd be on it like a ton of bricks, But,
yeah, thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Nigel, excellent as normal.
Lovely, no worries.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Is it expensive, Nigel, from Canada? Postage?
The best thing you could do is if you could get 4 or 5 of you together and get just one parcel sent over, and then split it up as it arrives. It depends on it. It does actually say on their website roughly how much it would cost to send X number of bulbs. I can't for the life of me think what it is. But myself and my friend Peter Forrow, who was up in Chesterfield, we tend to sort of club together and have an order between ourselves. But you know, you're not. I mean, if you're talking perhaps 8 to 9 quid to get a parcel from this country, your house, you're probably talking 30 or 40 quid to get it from Canada, sort of thing. Yeah. But you do have to have a phytosanitary certificate, which costs you about another 6 or 7 quid. Yeah. And then there is also the risk of getting clobbered by customs and excise when it gets here for VAT on it. Now, sometimes they don't bother checking the parcels if they're you know, not massive great shipments. They sort of let them go through. But other times, the sort of the post office on behalf of customs and excise impound them and don't let you have them until you pay the VAT on it. So that adds to it as well. So.
Yeah, I know. I fetch a lot of stuff in for motorbikes from America, and I've just fetched a seat in for £200, and it's cost me an extra £60.
Yeah.
To give to the post office. Bless them.
It's exactly that's what it is. I think last year, because whether it was COVID or not, last year everything got through. Nobody I know of got stung for any VAT, so all the parcels just went straight through. Year before that, 2 or 3 people I know of got through. It's a risk you take.
Yeah, they've had me a few times, but
people in Canada, the Peter's Gladiola, she's very, very good because the VAT worked out on the value of the parcel, and she always underestimates how much the value of the parcel is. So if you've ordered 200 quid worth of bulbs or 100 quid worth of bulbs, she'll probably put on the parcel it's worth 20 quid or something like that.
Yeah.
So you know, she helps you out a bit that way.
Thanks, Nigel.
No worries.
Cheers, Nigel.
Okay.
Right, back garden, delphiniums. Because as soon as the first flowering have finished, died off, whatever, I cut off nearly enough soil level 2 inches up. Give a nice feed, and then you get a second growth. And we had the second growth up, but the only thing with the second growth, because it's we're now getting winds and rain, and the weight of the rain on the delphiniums, it snaps them, and it ruins them. That's up the other side. You can see with the weight of the rain on that just snapped that one. In fact, all the way down you can see that lot as well. These were tied up as well, but because of the wind and the rain, it's just potluck. Everybody's in the same boat. Alstroemeria, when these have died off, I'm still pulling them out. Somebody put it's on Facebook this week that they took all theirs out because I was taking over the garden. Gordon Bennett. You know, that's up to them. So I'm still dead-headed, meaning I'm pulling the lot out. Pull it out from the bottom, then you finish that bit off as well. It comes straight out. This me new plant which I had this year. There's a name on him. Montoa Jacob Chine. I'm going to chop him down as well, which we have there. 3 or 4 inches of stem left on, so I know where the plant was, although the label's still in there. The hound with a paw could reach that label, drag it out, so I still know it's there. So I'm just tidying up anything that has died off, any stems, gone to seed, and I'll chop them as well. It's this one, Crocosmia. He's finished off. I chopped the seed heads off a while back, but these are starting getting rust on them now, so I'm going to chop them off as well, which I have done there. And then tie that dahlia up on the bottom. Rainbow. Had a good one during the week, Boston colours on it. It's usually a pot of gold on the end of a rainbow, or a hound, our grandchild I should say. I'm doing another practical talk at the garden centre in Marden, Hereford, a week Tuesday. I'll cover this more next week. This is I should have been practical sessions up Gardeners World, BBC Gardeners World Live. So I've kept all my gumps luckily, because I've done a few at allotment sites practical, and I'm doing another one at so looking forward to that at the allotment site. But I'll cover that in a couple of while. Right, if you remember these beds when I filled these up, I did finish off with seaweed because I've had a bit of rain on, the rain has soaked into the seaweed, and you can see where they've all swelled up. Beautiful. We'll end up covering them eventually. Right, this is a small bed in the middle. I'm clearing him up as well. Just breaking all the lumps up. Top dressing. Everything getting and forked in. Same as normal, everything else. Ready. Good soaking. And I finish off with my own compost. Don't forget it's full of worms. Right, I'm on a piddle. So I piddle in my jug, then bung that in my watering can. Nitrogen. That'll do for my compost bin, which is there. Right, I'm going to have a look at take this door off. So I'll put a bit of old bin liner or plastic underneath so I can catch all the stuff. Took the front door off. That looks okay to me. That looks even better. Mostly broken down. There's still some little bits in there. Obviously there's still worms in there because they're going through it. If they'd have gone through that lot, they would have then gone a bit higher up to go for some more food. So this is what I'm top dressing my beds with the worms as well. Now I've got a nice hole there because I've got out everything which I can reach. So I'll put the door back on, and that's that bed which I've just finished and top dressed with my compost. You'll get a good soaking once it's levelled and then covered. There's my small bed cover in the shed, so he's brought out, and he's pegged down exactly the same with all the other beds. Keep them working over winter. Lid off my compost bin. The 3 little bits of carpet are taken out or folded up with the worms. That's where I've took the compost out, where my door is under there. So all I've got to do now is cave this lot in so it's nice and level again. Give it a good watering on the top. Don't forget these carpets have got to stay moist, otherwise you won't get your extra worms. Just look after them. So I'll just take my door off just for a quick nose, and it has all dropped down. So that'll be ready for when I've done preparing another raised bed. So that door goes back on again. Right, my stuff in the tunnel top of the garden. These are the last of me gladdies in the pots. And my canes, I've got to store them. There's a couple there will stay in the shed. The others, using that Velcro tape, I'll put 2 lots on top of the tunnel stage, up the beam that goes across the top. They can stay there, but my grapevine is coming later on. Should have it soon. But as soon as he gets in there, I'll say by early next year, should have put a bit of meat on. Put them up there in the road, out the road. Pathways, I'm weeding and wood chipping. I think that's the last bit of pathway I've got to do. There we are, all done. The hound can go up there now and they don't come back with muddy paws. Black-eyed Susie. That one has reached the top now, as is that one. But I will be earlier next year putting these in because I've managed to get my own seed from Wilco flogged it anyway. So, but it just eyes the line properly. But these are, they do take over as well. Just pull the rubbish out if you don't need it to go anywhere. Right, Gladys, let's start them off. First one's here. Saline, this is a prim. Love me prim, started doing these last year. Right, I did a try with, as you see that one, there's vermiculite on the top of that one. Keeping the moisture in the pots. Don't forget anything in a pot, they dry out quicker. So my blueberries down the pot, the pots were sunk into the ground. And I tried it with straw as well, and that worked as well. So I'm saving the straw, picking that up and putting that in a bag ready for next year. Just taking them out. These have been out. If I've got a photo at the end, they've dried off nice, like a strawy stem. But Nigel, I noticed you were cut off right to the top of the comb.
Yeah, I once they're out the ground, that they're not going to sort of, feed anything back down into corn, so it just makes it easier to store them, just cut them straight off.
Of course, because they am dried off, as you can see there. Should be better on that one. That was Sue, that one. But I do like these. Because I want to save the little chaps that they're on, not many got them on, but the babbies, the cormlets, I put paper underneath to catch them as well. And that was Sue, yeah. That's all I got of them. Shalimar, that's another nice one. Like the colouring on that one as well. There's more cormlets on these.
Yeah, I don't know why it is, Mick, but for some reason the Primulinus ones, they don't tend to have as many cormlets on them as the bigger ones. So
yeah,
whatever you do get off them, everyone's precious sort of thing.
Yeah. Add this through the post during the week. I'm thinking about it. Anybody done it? Tried it? I know you're still living.
I know somebody who did. They're absolutely raving about the service. I think the only thing that you could sort of say was strange was that they actually collected the body from the undertakers that that had taken the body from hospital or whatever, and they actually the cremators were 200 or 300 miles away from home, but the ashes were brought back by a man in a black suit, all done very properly and nicely presented and what have you, and absolutely. I think it cost him about 800 quid or something.
Yeah. It's just, if it's cheaper than normal bloody, it's bloody rip off in it.
Well, it depends what you want, isn't it? Some folks want a big do with plenty of flowers. Some folks just want a quiet, and pass away, and no fuss.
Could give your body to medical science.
Yeah, they give it back, I think, soon, wouldn't they?
They won't want mine.
Well, they give mine back. They'd say, sorry, I can't do nothing with that.
I'd like to be composted.
Yeah, no.
Then you roll up. All Gladys, just working my way along. FN, what was that one? Florence Nightingale. I got 2 of him. Nigel put them on earlier on. Getting to my last lot now. There's a hound helping me out. The grandchild, I should say. Of singular beauty. These are me babbies I put in last year. So these will go in again next year. To put a bit more meat on them. Back in the pots again.
Anything bigger than a sort of 10 pence, 50 pence piece size, Mick will give you a decent flowering garden.
Yeah, good. Yeah. 10 pence. Ideal. This lot was for Nigel, Muddy Boots. Still waiting for him in the garage. He'll be down soon to pick them up. So all them lot I've just done, these are stored in the garage. I'm in the garage 3 or 4 times during the day. So it has got air movement. Because if I'm in there, it is over for at least 10 minutes, quarter of an hour. And I've got away with it for the past few years. I mean, you always lose a few going rotten or whatever. But they work well, the old mushroom crates. Right, new plugs. I've had Pentamon. The other one in Chensia. These are going out very soon. Right, going down the plot. Was this last Saturday? I think this was last Saturday when I first got there. This is at the side of one of our trading sheds where the rabbit muck is dropped off here. And this is the spent ops from Bather's Brewery. And at the back here, obviously, because it's nice and moist, we still forget our allotments slopes that way and that way. So going this way, that is always nice and moist. Because it's dark anyway, up against there, there's always loads of worms. So if we go in there, let's show you. and that's what I'm after. And this is just in Spentops. Worms love it. Look at them tiger worms. That's the worms you want as well. So I borrowed a few, put them in a tub, and bought them on. We'll get on to them in a bit. Right. Last Thursday was our Cranny Town Football Club. This is going up the main drag to it. We've come through the main gates on the main road. We're just going through the gates to Cranny Town Football Club itself. There's our old container, which has got all our stuff in for the show. But this talk was Darren Rudge. He's a good lad. There he is. I've done a couple of talks with him before. There's, I think the first talk we did, there was 4 of us talking all afternoon, obviously on 4 different subjects. But he's a great bloke. He talks on, where am I? BBC. He's a BBC broadcaster, Radio WM. He's an award-winning garden designer and horticultural lecturer, and he's known as the Laughing Gardener. And that was a photo he took to put on his blog. But that was just before the break. And there he is. Because I got enthralled with his talk, I usually take a photo halfway through or whatever of him doing his talk. And I bloody forgot. So I got somebody to take a photo of me and him at the end. But he's a Boston bloke. He had us in hysterics. Which is what you need. He also dishes this out, fact sheets. These are things that you have in your household. And what they Oldens used to use years ago. And one of them, which I'm going to cover now. I'm going to cover, I think there's 26 altogether on his sheet. Now he does 6 talks. We had the first one, obviously. The talk was titled Tea Bags, Bras and Tights. Meaning you use all them for gardening implements, whatever. So that we had tea bags, tights and bras and tights. 1. So we had his first talk. So he's got another 5 talks. So I've booked him up for the next 5 years. The speakers are hard to get hold of now. Right, this little corner here where we're coming to Abbey Road allotments, got the main gate up here. If anybody's got any spare veg, they throw it on the side here. And I saw this marrow after the talk, picked that up because if we go back on that one, he bought these 2 in. He told us how to make a marrow rum, which is what I want that marrow for. But he also bought the bottle in, and these little tubs here, these are little tasters, meaning he dished that out to everybody, and the taste was superb. It was like proper bloody rum.
It was good rum, Mike. Good rum.
Which is common sense, isn't it?
Yeah. It's nice.
So marrow, all I did was chop his head off. That's the recipe for it. It'll be easy to copy when it's on YouTube. We'll just take 1 large marrow or a courgette that's gone oversized. That's what most of them are anyway. Cut the top off, but keep it to seal it later. Which I fed mine to the compost, but I just sealed it with cling film. Scoop out the inside. Obviously, it's got to be got to have a hole in it. Fill with molasses or brown sugar. So I use Demerara sugar and raisins. Don't forget, most of my wines now, all my wine, instead of using white sugar, I use brown. Got an extra kick. Raisins also give it an extra kick. This is why it makes a good brew. You then seal it, i.e. the top. You poke 5 or 6 holes in the bottom with a knitted needle. I've got a knitted needle, as we'll come on to later on. You hang it over a bowl using a pair of good ladies' tights. Obviously, take her out of it first. You leave it for 3 to 6 weeks. The resulting liquid was strained through a fine kitchen sieve. Enjoy your own marrow. So I've got a spoon there. I started taking all the gum out the middle. This was yesterday. Obviously going down, I'm then going to cut it with a large knife, and then the long wooden ladle or with spoon, I get the rest of that lot out. First one I put in was me Demerara sugar, and then my raisins. Now that was left overnight in the porch upright. This lot was also left in there, so first thing this morning, I took this lot and bunged it in the compost heap. They're gonna love it. Right, all I got with this knife sharpener, I've got nothing else, but 2 holes in the bottom of that, bung it in this, which Jeffrey from Belgium, he sent me 2 of these for when I was doing my compost teas or anything like that, a strainer for my wine. Perfect. He is tied up and that's dripping through. So that lot is just from last night, if that makes sense. And there he is tied up. Steve, you got your hand up, mate?
Them bags are available from most supermarkets now.
The big ones?
Yeah, the very big ones.
Oh.
I got one, it's about 2 foot by 18 inch.
Yeah.
It's for getting 5 pound of taters in and stuff like that, and put all your veg in it. I got mine from Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
But they're very fine. I bought 10 and I use them for collecting seeds out at garden.
Yeah. They're perfect for wine and all, and for
Where do you
making
get it from in the supermarket? Is it in the veg section?
Yeah, you just, instead of getting a paper bag, you can get one of those and then you can reuse it for your potatoes.
Oh, right. I doubt whether my Tesco's will have it. They're useless.
I've got some sheep book in one, organic sheep book, that goes into my water book. Because I found that tights, when you use tights, they rotted. So I use them now and they're great.
Oh. It's like a big tea bag in it.
Yep. And twice as fine.
Yeah. So 6 to 8 weeks, obviously, if you can get away with it, hang it up in the bedroom or somewhere, which I caused. So it is just in the greenhouse, dripping at the moment. And another one he mentioned, I'm going to bung 2 of these on a wick. Bananas. It gives you all the gum there, what was good for bananas, which we know potassium and everything. But this is the one I looked at the bottom. The inside of a banana skin can be used to polish your shoes, silverware, and as a plant wipe for your leafy houseplants. That's what I was looking at. Meaning, this one here was getting oversized a couple of weeks ago, and I had it off our youngest. I says, I'll pot it on for you, which we have done. But then the pot it was in was too big for the windowsill in his back room downstairs. So I've kept that. I'm going to give him another one. And I just thought of these leaves, because what I usually do is clean them off with a bit of soft wool once a month, just to get the fluff, dust off and whatever. So I tried this. So I've just got a banana and I've just wiped 2 of them. As you can see, the sheen is on there already. So I thought, well, I'll leave you overnight. Don't forget, this is a foliar feed as well. Besides putting a nice shine on the leaf, you are feeding it. It is a foliar feed. And there's that shiny 2 I've done last night. And there's the others which are left. So now all of them look like that. Superb. So Neil, for your leeks next year, when you want a nice colour on the flags of your leeks, get a banana skin, if you've got time, of course, and bring the nice sheen. Suzanne, yes?
Yeah, can I use that for orchid leaves, do you think?
Everything.
Oh, everything?
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll do that then. Means I'll have to buy some bananas now.
This was Saturday down the shed. That was me and Mark. Yesterday, obviously. And Lynn bought us some chocolate courgette muffins to try. Boston. Cheers, Lynn. If I remember, that recipe was put up a couple of weeks ago as well. Jim on side bought his daughter and Teddy with him. This is Ava. She was given the class Teddy for the weekend. This is to have photos taken on Jim's plot, i.e. with different veg, so she can go back and say Dad grows these and whatever. But I think most schools do that with the young ones, preschool, but it's good for them. Right, more compost from the plot before I give my half plot up. So I went and got another 2 bags of compost up. That's it now. I'll give them both full plot and the half plot up together. This was to top dress this raised bed which I used last year for my Gladys, but I thought about it. I thought I ain't going to top dress it yet because that's extra weight, because it is going to get moved, because next year my raspberry canes are going in there, so he's going down there, or yes, down that side. Fruit trees are going down there, and all my Glady ones are coming right up this end or in front of the patio, but luckily our big ones come on, so he can help me move them. Right, that if you remember the side of the shed where the spent tops were, and I went down a bit to get some worms. This is that probably about a third of a florist bucket tub full of worms. Obviously they're all down the bottom. So yeah, upended them there. You can see the spent hops a bit better there. Beautiful, full of worms. So these are extra worms which I'm going to bung in. Carpets off again. This was Tuesday, so this will be Friday. Only enough I had a week's composting out, so I mixed and chopped everything, put that lot in, spread it out evenly, and then added half of these worms with the spent tops. So there's my extra worms. Good watering, shook all my worms back in there off all the carpets, watered them lids again and put the lid on. Now we started having a couple of cold nights, and I think it's going to get colder next week, so I've got to start thinking about this. He's had his white coat on to repel the heat and the light over the summer, so they don't get too hot. Now I've got to look after them over winter. Mother-in-law's house, in the process of flogging that. Got some old carpet which was going in the skip. I thought, perfect for me, let's make him a nice new coat. So that's what I've got. Wrap it round, because this is tapered, the bin is tapered. At the top I slice it 3 or 4 sides, so I tuck it in, but you'll see better on this one. You'll see where I've sliced it down there. A nice sharp standing knife does the job easy, instead of mucking about with scissors. Don't forget, this should still have 5 years on the guarantee if it's Axminster. So let's wrap round. I'll cut round the top as well, as we have done there. This will stop them if we don't get many good frosts last year, but just in case you do get one, I've got to look after my worms. Don't forget, when those on the plot, if they do get cold and they got to clear off. This was a few years back when you get -4s and 5s, then they'd clear off underneath. But because I'm on slabs, I've got to look after them even more. I want them to stay there, and obviously I don't want them to die, so put an overcoat on them. And this being not white, but it ain't fur off, it's not a dark colour, put it that way. It will still repel, absorb them. If there's any winter sun or sunlight, it will still absorb it even better. Obviously tape all around it, keep it together, and extra bit of carpet as well, because that lot, when the hound walks on it, this is where it dribbles, don't forget. But I think catching that somehow, but as walking in with that lot as well. So I put an extra bit of carpet around, so when it dribbles now, it just goes underneath the carpet, so it's nice and clean again. Then I went down Wilco, got some white tape, went round the black tape of that. Good job, Brenda, they have a drawers on the line. Right, this is a view from the top of the garden looking down. This is of me black-eyed Susies. But they do take over a bit, but just pull them out or cut them off if you don't need them. But I wanted them to go up there, and I've done the job. It's just something extra. Right, Nick, you ready, sir?
Yeah, evening.
Good man, all yours.
Bitlastminute.com, but I wasn't really prepared for this. What you can see there is they're called pips, bobies, whatever you want to call them. So going back to 2 years ago, I started an onion that grew to nearly £15.6, which was harvested last year. In sort of August, September time, that was kept along with some other ones over the winter. And then come January sort of time, you basically plonk it into a pot of good soil and it starts to throw up leaves. From there, it grows through the summer months and then it throws up a stalk which produces a flower head. Now, what you see there, forget the plants on the right-hand side, they're leeks, but that's another story. So basically what you get off the plant, off the flower head, is a thing called pips, bobies, whatever you want to call them. And the reason you get them, there's two ways of doing it. It's through nature, or you can force them. So through nature, what happens is the bees come along and they pollinate the flowers on the onion head with the flowers, and the bees that can't get to them produces pips, which is normally near the base of the head. There's two things you can do naturally, or you can force them, where you cut off the flower heads and that produces pips. Sometimes, not always. So half of them are probably forced, half of them are probably natural. So you take them off the flower head as naturally as you can. Basically, the flower head starts to die off and the pips come away from the head. It's a bit of a time thing you've got to do right at the right time, but if you get it right, it worked well. So there's on the left-hand side, top picture, there's 14 that was set off on the 26th of September. They sat in soil for about 14 degrees, 15 degrees in the greenhouse, so it's a bit hotter than that in the daytime, obviously. And they set down roots and are now doing very well. The ones on the bottom of the picture, they were set away about a week ago, and you can see leaves coming off them, or flutes, whatever you want to call it, coming off them already. But they were coming off even before I took them off the head, so they're trying to grow straight away. And the one up in the right hand corner, that's just some leeks that I've taken off. They're called pendle, some stock that I've taken off 12, and I've got another, you can't see a picture of this, but I've got a head that I've taken off a leek. I've probably got another, 30 or 40 that are in a pot of water that I'll probably grow on in probably 2 or 3 weeks time.
Sorry, Mick. Mick, can you zoom in, please? Wow.
It'll probably show the next picture, which is so the next picture will reveal a bit more.
Thanks, Mick.
Okay.
Next one, Mick. So what I did yesterday, just as a bit of an example, you see the size of my fingers. I haven't got the biggest of hands, but that's a big pip. So you can see that it's thrown out a lot of roots, quite fibrous, healthy roots. I just pulled it out the pot and sort of show you what happens. So what happens with the pips is it's a bit like a seed, really. It'll throw down a lot of roots into the soil, looking for moisture, nutrients and temperature, all the rest of it. And that happens before you see any growth coming from, you see the top of my finger, that's where it starts to grow out. So it's quite a bit, it might sound very easy to do, but they have got a tendency to rot at the bottom of the roots. If you put the pointer down, Mick, towards that's it there. So they will collect a lot of, so they basically, the plant, same as in any onion seed, pip or set, it will grow from the middle upwards. So the outer of where I'm holding it is actually a waste of time. It will just rot out. So there becomes a time where you've got to have a lot of airflow in it, a lot of airflow around the pips. And when you start to see botrytis or any kind of rot, it's time to remove it, which is a bit later on in a few more weeks' time. So yeah, hell of a root system. And these pips, forgot to tell you, they're off. Yeah, but I think I did tell you, 15.6 onion. But next one, Mick. So this is a couple of days ago. So the pips on there have started to send out some growth. So all they've got is bottom heat at 14 degrees. You can see the ones that haven't fired, which are the big ones. So that big one there, believe it or not, that is the one I showed you with all the roots on. So that tells me that it's going to do well. Once it fires, it will do well. The other ones are very similar growth. So the one, there's two that's bent over, they will get chucked away. They've got, so I've had a look down in the soil, they've got some roots, but they're too far behind. So when I say too far behind, depends what you mean. I always maintain the same with most plants, but especially the onions, leeks. Once they start growing, they never catch themselves up. So a plant will only grow to its potential, a percentage every day, every week, every month. It grows the same pace all the way through. So the big one that was rooted, the size of it should make a good onion. The ones that are bent over, the roots aren't as good, I will throw them away. And the ones on the right, which I can't see the whole picture, they're just starting to root now. So you just got to look at it, take pictures, and when I say analyze, you've just got to look at the growth of each plant, because the ones that fall behind never catch up. So it will never make a bigger weight, if that makes sense. Yeah. So there's no lighting at the moment. They're just in the greenhouse, and it's been hot the last week, so doors are open. It's been 30 degrees in there. But I keep the temperature above 14 C at night, and that keeps the roots nice and healthy. They'll probably stay in there now for another 2 weeks, and then they'll go on from a 7 centimetre pot into a 9 centimetre pot. The potting on is quite gradual. I probably do six pot-ons from now through to February, where it goes from a final pot into the main container pot. But they grow fairly quick. At about percentage-wise, they grow about between 7 and 9% each week. That's about it, really.
Real.
That's how you try and grow big onions.
Excellent. Anybody got any questions for Nick? Good man. Keep us up to date, Nick.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers, mate.
Good on you. Right, need photos for next week. Anybody's got any? I know the shows are finished and whatever, but if you've got anything you're still doing in your garden or whatever you do, clearing up or whatever, just send us a few photos. And so until next week, as in this photo, chill, look after your family and friends, and look at that tree. Isn't it great?
Hugging.
Tree hug.
So besides Darren's usage of our sold items for the garden use next week, I'll put 2 of them on. I'm also adding some of me exploits from when I was in the mob, because I got photos to prove they're just for something different. And that's it, people. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Mick.
Passes the night away.
Thank you, Mick.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody.
Thanks, Mick.
Cheers.
Hey, Paul. You all right,
Cheers.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Paul.
Cheers. Couple of new ones on tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. Really enjoyed it tonight.
Good.
Been interesting.
You still got the top off, are you?